believe it or not, a new king of the hill, the C8 Corvette Zora will definitely come. Now, my job is to give you the facts on why I believe that is the case, study cases that actually give away this idea and why you should as well. Watch out for that car that will in all aspects beat the 2025 ZR1, which we now know and love. Let's get straight into the fun part, shall we? First up, let's get context. You see, a few weeks ago, just after the ZR1 was officially released, we actually put out a poll that asked this question. That's right. And most people on the community responded it was basically better than what they had expected. I mean, can you blame them? It's not every day you get to see a car with those sorts of numbers. 1,064 horsepower, previously expected to come in at the range of 800 to 900, you know, but never even guessing 1,000. That was reserved for the Zora, or so we thought. But now it exceeded that, and so now it stands that the ZR1 obviously is the most capable C8 ever, by a pretty much wide margin, which is solid. But only until the Zora comes. That's right, the Zora will be way crazier than the ZR1, expected to utilize the ZR1's twin-turbo V8 and the electric motor and battery setup from the E-Ray to make a car that's both all-wheel drive and one that'll boast around 1,220 horsepower. Of course, you need to take those numbers with a pinch of salt, as it could actually exceed that now that the ZR1 is at 1,064 horsepower. But wait, how do we even know to be sure the Zora will come? I have exactly 5 reasons I want to discuss in detail. Let's kick things off with one of the most basic things for making a vehicle. Patent. We all know this is one of the first things auto manufacturers actually set their mind to when planning on making a new car. They need rights for the nameplate or trademark, especially if the car is going to be totally remodeled, which in turn would require the appeasing of a new model name on it, and in this case, the Zora tag. Now, GM received the rights to use that name Zora from the US Patent and Trademark Office in 2014, then re-registered this label in 2018, which was later followed by another filing in 2022. However, one of the most recent was when GM registered the Zora with the Instituto Mexicano de Propiedad Industrial in June 2024. Now, if we study that document closely, you'd see the mark will be used for Class 12 goods, which, as it may be, tend to comprise motor vehicles and the more structural parts and such. And could it be a coincidence that the USPTO application covers Class 12 items as well? I would guess not. So basically, what this does is it gives us this small bite in a big cake of assurance that we need in order to even pursue this idea or even defend it. But now let's talk about something more recent, something so close with us but that most people did not actually notice. Let's talk test mules. I know you weren't expecting that, but let's look at something together here. This very idea was spearheaded by the website CorvetteBlogger.com, but we as well got this from Motor One. Link of both articles will be in the description in the case you want to see them yourself. Basically, what was suggested is that Chevy engineers have actually been testing more than just the ZR1 all these while in plain sight, and no one noticed. Now let's dig into what could support this claim. The E-Ray. What about the E-Ray, you ask? So there's actually a specific piece of electrification tech featured in the E-Ray as proof of its being an electrified vet, which was spotted on 2 of the 3 supposed ZR1 cars testing outside the Milford Proving Ground roughly 2 months ago. Let's get a bit more context, shall we? So basically, in a video where Tadge Juechter explains how the E-Ray works as compared to the Z06 in cooling, he made some pretty notable statements, and I implore you to pay attention here, as this is basically what connects the dots together after everything. Okay, so in commenting on why the E-Ray has more cooling radiators than the Z06, he said, because there's more to cool. That's one. Remember that. Next, he says, that drive unit has to be cooled. The power electronics in the battery need to be cooled. The battery cells themselves need to be cooled. The battery cells... You see where this is going? The E-Ray actually needs the cooling because of its extra features of sporting an electric cell. And now when we continue to closely study these radiators, we discover there are actually 3 cooling loops in the E-Ray, but the most notable is really the vertically mounted radiator that sits on the horizontal radiators found on the E-Ray's front driver's side. This radiator style setup is basically what sets the E-Ray apart from the Z06 and ZR1 in cooling, as both cars do not have this radiator setup. And so it came to be known as the electrification cooling radiators because, as Tadge Juechter earlier commented, the battery cells themselves need to be cooled. Now we've established the fact that the E-Ray's radiators are different, but where do we go with all these? And how do they connect with the Zora? It's simple. This exact setup of the E-Ray style radiators were found on 2 of the 3 camouflage prototypes that went for testing those 2 months ago. Crazy, right? We can't say it's the E-Ray because why the need to camouflage, right? Neither can we say the Z06 since it's definitely not electric, same as the ZR1, and therefore have a different cooling setup. So obviously the most reasonable logic would be that GM tested the Zora, which will be coming as an electrified Vette, in disguise as the ZR1 as they have similar body layout. This would make more sense when we consider the fact that just a few years ago, judging from still these cooling radiators, the E-Ray itself was tested in plain sight alongside the Z06, deliberately disguised as the Z06, and no one found out until much later when it was officially released. I'm not saying this is definitive or final in any way, of course it's all still speculation until the actual debut of the Zora, so time will tell, but I'm saying the idea that it's the Zora within those guises is most likely than it is with being any other Corvette, thereby supporting further the fact the Zora will undoubtedly join us shortly. Moving on, let's further solidify this logic by talking about something interesting. The ZR1 can accommodate the E-Ray's electric motor. When scrutinized diligently, the design choices the ZR1 features gave a hint at the Zora's existence. How come? The engine compartment was designed in such a way that despite the extra cooling load stemming from the ZR1 and its twin turbo equipment, there's still enough room to fit in the E-Ray's 1.1 kilowatt-hour battery pack. This space could easily have been used for bigger coolant hoses or even as storage space, but Chevy engineers instead chose to leave it bare. Would you look at that? Also, though, this could just be a parts sharing thing and such, but something else noticed is the fact Chevy settled to use a coolant hose up front, which curls out around the area where the electric motor would be placed, which of course leaves additional space, big and begging to be filled. Again, this isn't definitive, but the signs are there, and perhaps obviously pointing to the model which would spell crazy from all different angles. The Zora? But there's more. Tadge Juechter's big hint. Obviously, Chevy's chief engineer said what we will soon reveal without much thought. A lighthearted comment you could call it, but just like other things, there's a lot we can deduct from that one sentence. He said, "We had to be careful because we've been working on the ZR1 for 6 years," he told Motor One. "We had to keep our mouths shut and we're still working on stuff in the future." Pretty vague at first, but when you think about it, Tadge actually retired following the ZR1's launch, and so when he said, "We're working on stuff in the future," I wonder what that meant. For one, it could be a hint that an even more powerful C8 is coming, which is interesting. Now there's still one other thing, benchmarking a Ferrari SF90 Stradale. Known for purchasing and using competitors' cars as benchmarking tools, Corvette engineers could be going about the process all over again. Chevy had, with much fame, purchased a Ferrari 458 Italia, a Porsche 911 GT2 RS, and an Acura NSX for benchmarking against several Corvette trims. But 2 months ago, Chevy was caught testing a Ferrari SF90 Stradale, along with a pack of camouflage Corvette prototypes. Also, these were the same prototypes where the E-Ray style radiators on 2 of them pointed to the Zora C8. However, if we also check out the layout of the SF90, we discover it pairs a twin-turbo V8 out back to join 3 electric motors, 2 up front and 1 in the transmission, for all-wheel drive. We'd also notice how strikingly similar this setup is to what the Zora will bring, though with a lot less power on the Ferrari, which makes about 986 horsepower. Still, it could also be argued that the Stradale was used to compare against ZR1s as the power levels are somewhat similar, but considering the Ferrari's drivetrain setup, it's more likely it's being used for the Zora, further solidifying the fact the Zora will definitely come. Whatever the case, tell us what you think of these findings in the comments section below, and if you'd love to see how the Zora together with the ZR1 could change the C8's legacy forever, then this video is where you want to go next.